All right, so the first technology that I want to look at is called Plix. It comes from CK12. And if any of you are familiar with CK12, it is a free online resource that you can supplement kind of with your textbook. They have lesson plans. They just have kind of textbook pages. And I've always kind of wanted to look at these Plix kind of simulations. So while I've used CK12 to supplement reading, I've never actually looked into some of the different things that they have within their platform. So I already have it set here. I've set up my account, and you can choose your subject. So like you can change your branches, math, science. So I put that I'm a chemistry teacher on here. So these are all going to be aligned with chemistry concepts. And the nice part about this is it'll tell you which concepts they're aligned with, but it will also tell you which standards. So the reason that I selected the Plix series is because I have already heard about CK12 and I wanted to explore more into what they have to offer. My goals or objectives with the Plix series or with these simulations would be to find more resources for students that might need some extra help or need some visualization with what they're doing. So if I click into this, this will be intended for students, so I would assign this to a class. These integrate very well with Google Classroom, which our district uses. So I would assign this Plix, and they can play with these different parts over here. So this would be the atomic mass, so I would just put some numbers in here, and I would check it. And it'll tell me if I'm incorrect, or I can go ahead and fill these in, and when I click check, it's going to start moving to tell me that I'm correct. So how many protons do I have? How many neutrons? What's my mass number? So then I can go in here and challenge myself after I have kind of figured these out and answer these questions. So one of the isotopes of tritium has a mass number of 3. So how many neutrons would you find? Well, it has to have 1 proton, so I'm going to say that it has 2 neutrons to make that mass of 3. So then you go through and you answer these questions, and it gives some kind of practical practice problems that kind of go with the simulation. And you can reset the simulation and start it over if the kids, have questions. And then in here, this gives you kind of like some supplemental reading, which the readings are what I've looked at before, not necessarily the simulations. So in aligning with the ISTE standards, just for educators, I would say this aligns with 6B specifically regarding the student learning strategy. So students that are more visual or that may need more practice, this is more geared towards that part of the standard. And then for educational leaders, I feel like this fits under ISTE standard for 1B for educational leaders, just because it allows all students to kind of have access to engaging opportunities. Instead of just filling out a worksheet or doing the same PhET simulation they've been doing, since middle school, this is another option that kind of incorporates some questions as well as the manipulative. And then as far as creating a finished product, this one doesn't necessarily have a finished product. These simulations are already pre-made. So I wouldn't necessarily have a finished product, but I might incorporate some of these into some of my units in Google Classroom.